Greetings, fellow targeted individuals. We know that gangstalking, community mobbing, is all about degrading and demoralizing a target. According to DoD, they find the appropriate way to deal with targets is to degrade or destroy the functional operational capability of a target. That is found in a DoD manual. I believe this is from a joint targeting task force or joint intelligence. And then you see on the front of it different branches of the government. So we live in the best country in the world, but we're slowly seeing our constitutional rights being eroded and not respected. Now we know that DHS, DOJ, they want to remove this gap between intelligence agencies and law enforcement. And in one article I read from Dr. James E. Steiner, if you do a Google search on the article, it's called Improving Homeland Security at the State Level. It clearly states in the first paragraph that the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, has created the wall between law enforcement and intelligence. And that this wall has been pretty much completely destroyed. There's no gap between intelligence agencies and law enforcement pretty much now. So our information is being shared with law enforcement from fusion centers, which is coming from the NSA and other agencies, intelligence agencies. So we have like little mini wars going on all across America where people aren't being assaulted with guns, but they're being gang stalked by people. And DHS, they want our military to pretty much have power in the community so that way they can conduct their operations on a local level. And law enforcement organizations are being directed to become more like intelligence agencies. So like these fusion centers and these different regional councils, because really that's what they are little mini intelligence agencies which are sharing information on a local level so you can become a targeted person. Now, bear with me one moment because I want to share something else. There's a lot of targets that are wanting to sue these people behind their harassment. Well, you have numerous roadblocks, but I want people to stay positive and pursue lawsuits if necessary. If you get a judge that's tied to one of these regional councils or even a Masonic order, and you've recorded in the past that you've been harassed by these groups or their members, you can request, it's called a judicial disqualification, also known as a recusal. And with that, you can have that judge removed. And then if you find another judge is tied to these groups, you can remove that judge, and then another judge, and then another judge, then another judge. So that way it never stops until these people find someone that isn't tied to these groups. So we see that Citizens Corps is coordinated nationally by the Department of Homeland Security's Federal Emergency Management Agency, which works closely with federal entities, state and local governments, first responders and emergency managers, the volunteer community, and the Corporation for National and Community Service. Now, there are over 1,200 county, local, or tribal Citizens Corps councils in America. So that means wherever you move in this country, you're going to experience this harassment all over again. Now, these councils are sharing information with neighborhood watch groups, your workplace most likely, and also places of worship. So people are being targeted at churches, in schools, and in their local communities. Citizens Corps programs have 5 partners, which include CERTS, Fire Corps, USA on Watch, Medical Reserve Corps, and Volunteers in Police Service, which is funded by Department of Justice. Now, they actually have way more partners than that, because any group of people which are a stakeholder, this can be some medical clinic down the road, a women's group, they are actually stakeholders. So when you are a stakeholder, you are pretty much a member of a group. So if you file a cease to desist to FEMA, you want to put down all the different agencies that are tied to them. It's their stakeholders. And you also want to mention also their local emergency management, the federal emergency management offices, all of these different people that are tied to you. You want to clarify that you do not want to experience harassment by their stakeholders no more, and that you have visual proof, and that you're requesting that they do not contact you or harass you no more. They're not going to like it, because first of all, they're going to think, oh, this person's challenging us. Let's see how we can harass this person again, but do it in a more covert manner. And also know, if you are trying to sue these people in a court of law, you only need to show, when it comes under the preponderance of evidence, that the proof, I think, has to be greater than 50%. 50% chance, I'm sorry. So if you can prove without a reasonable doubt that you've been harmed and you've been systematically harassed in the same exact manner by people in the community, you have a lawsuit against these organizations. It's not your obligation to prove that the person that's targeting you is tied to Citizens Corps, because they sign non-disclosure agreements. They have stakeholders which are involved in Neighborhood Watch. You don't waste your time trying to prove that they're tied to this movement by going through their trash or whatever. The only thing you need to prove is the origins of where this harassment is coming from, contact with these people in these offices in the past, and that the harassment has been persistent, where it's had an impact on your health. So that is another good tip. And you also want to write spoliation letters. You can actually request video footage from any public place, even police departments. You can request the video footage. That's very, very important. You can just call and know that public safety, it's all about fire, EMS, and homeland security and emergency management. You're always going to see that on all these web pages that talk about public safety. That public safety no longer is just tied to police and Department of Public Safety. It is now coming from Homeland Security. So these groups are getting grants. So they're going to be on their level. They're going to say, oh, we're Americans. We're serving our nation. Let's listen to FEMA and DHS. Screw what happened to Julia Davis, the ex-DHS whistleblower. We got to listen to these people. So that's how people are. It's like, give me a hamburger, give me a hot dog, and let me watch a football game, and I'm not going to say nothing. So this community mobbing is also coming from DOJ. Now, the RISK network, it's a really, really good network. We really need networks like this. But anytime information is being shared with agencies and people that have no business even getting this information, we're going to find out there's going to be loopholes for harassment. So these different panels, these different websites that have these login panels so people can share information, they are useful. But if it's being used to target and systematically harass people, then it's not something that can benefit America. So Citizens Corps, this is what they do. They respond to citizens' requests for services, crime prevention, crime solution, and engaging the community to solve crime, violence and disorder problems. Now, what is a disorder problem? A disorder problem can be someone that has PTSD that just got back from Vietnam. I don't know Vietnam, I mean any country, Iraq, Afghanistan. They've come back to America and they're suffering and they're getting treatment. And these organizations to say, oh, we have a right to interfere in this person's life. We have a right to inform his neighbors that he has PTSD. Now we have to watch him when this person poses no threat to no one. These are gimmicks to get more grant money, to systematically harass people and to create workloads so people can be investigated, so people can be harassed, so people can be assessed. So this is not a crime solution the Citizens Corps is providing. They are a problem that's creating disorder in our communities by engaging who? The community, people that you do not know, that have not established a relationship with you. So instead of them solving crime, they're actually promoting crime, and they're also in actuality promoting violence and disorder by harassing a person systematically when they have proof at times that, hey, this organization is involved. We also have to look at law enforcement's inability to file police reports and investigate the claims of targeted individuals. And also look at, what was her name? Karen Stewart, the ex-NSA whistleblower. She states that law enforcement is told to denounce these people, pretty much write them off as loony. They don't want to help. And what does the FBI do? The same exact thing. They do not help, knowing without a shadow of a doubt that they are not only orchestrating a problem, but they are actually a piece of the problem. And the sad thing is that these organizations would rather promote domestic terrorism before counterterrorism. Now, we know that Department of Homeland Security has an Office for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties. The acronym is CRCL. And they review and investigate civil rights claims. Maybe that's a waste of time. I'm pretty sure Julia Davis, the ex-DHS whistleblower, went through the same thing. And did DHS stop? No. When she complained about her harassment, she was still experiencing foot patrols and harassment from what I heard. So I just wanted to share that DHS's compliance with constitutional rights is a bunch of hogwash. Communicating with them has done nothing for me, because after I've asked for help, as you can see from my videos, I'm experiencing more harassment. So DHS is ineffective in its mission to protect Americans and also upholds constitutional rights.